Hey everybody, welcome back to CuddlesRUs. Today we're going to be diving into something a little unique. We actually got invited to a developer Q&A for content creators, and this was by far a huge gain for me and Mrs. Cuddles. Like, I never thought when we started this channel that we would have the option or even the privilege of speaking to them. So in some of these, I know I sound a little different because I'm super nervous. The sheer mention of developer talk was just so big, and I really want to thank Funcom and their team for allowing us to have this Q&A session. And I'm only going to be really focusing on the questions I personally asked. The other content creators, they can put out their own videos on the questions that they asked and some of the stuff that their community members are looking for. So with that said, guys, let's go ahead and let's jump on into it. With the specialization system taking almost a full year to complete, how is Funcom going to handle the player gap between players that start now and players that start months down the road? How is that going to differentiate the player base? And how are you guys going to balance the DD around the fact that the gear scaling is going to be really crazy when it comes to PvP?
Taking this one, Ole or Farah?
Yeah, I could take this one if you want to, Ula.
Yeah, go for it. I also.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for the yes, it will take a while. So initially we want to see how it goes with the specialization. So we of course have the catch-up mechanic of like 35 rewards. They can stack up to 35 rewards, right? So it's like if you miss out on the week, you still have basically the last day to catch up with everything. How it pans out at the end, like when people are out for like months, we'll have to see, I guess, what the gap actually is going to be. If eventually we want to do a catch mechanic, I don't know. It's like not in the plans yet, but it's like a brand new system. So I think we first want to at least release it, see how people and players interact with it. And then based on that, we can determine like, okay, hey, is a catch up mechanic needed, right? Keep in mind that for at least the augmentation part, that is like you can exchange that, you can like the components, the register component that is needed can be traded as well. So there is a social aspect where you can help each other with at least like the gear. But the actual like the personal specialization for now, that is we want to keep people engaged as well, right, and keep them playing. So that's why we have the leeway of like, hey, if you're out for a week, you miss, you can catch up like up to 7 days, and then like any longer than that is like indeed like going to be a gap. Where will we be like half a year from now? I think we'll need to look at that point, like, okay, hey, is there anything we can do for those players that have like that big gap? Do we want, is it needed to have a catch up mechanic or like not?
Did that answer the question, or
I don't know if that's exactly the right like an answer, but I understand the fact of like having the waiting the time that it takes. But I just look at the fact of like new players that are coming into the game now, you know, that are going to be out there spice farming and stuff like that. They're going to be meeting people with this higher tier gear, and it's actually going to put more of a damper on PvP in the deep desert than ever before. Because if somebody can have a rocket launcher, for instance, that can just one shot somebody in an ornithopter, it's really going to hurt morale for people in the DD, with the gearing system the way it is currently and the specialization system. So I'm just looking forward to like the people that are joining the game now are really going to be really left behind.
Yeah, so for sure we don't want to be in a spot where you can like one shot things, or like I know there was on Discord and on YouTube, like, or on Reddit going around it, like with the last gun you were able to take down like a transport thopter within 3 seconds, right? That's something that we're balancing around, and that's what we keep doing. We also have in place like if we need to make changes towards the actual like stats of the specialization, we are able to like refund people if needed. But again, it's like we need to see like how that pans out. I don't think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ula, we'll ever go to a balance where a player that has spent 2 years can like one shot a transport ornithopter, and then if you're a new player, it's like you're out of luck basically. So we can balance around that, but
I think this is also something that speaks more to the conflict between PvE players and PvP players than anything, as you mentioned. Like if you're lagging behind and you just want to go into the deep desert and you just want to harvest spice, that's obviously going to be a challenge if you're against the top specialized, max stacked out augmented people. There's still spice areas in the deep desert are PvE, but obviously we understand that's not the ones that you maybe not want to go and harvest. There's still ones in the PvP area. I guess the only thing I can add is that we're also looking into the long term. I don't want to go too much into the long term plans here, but we're also looking into the long term plans slash mid slash long term plans on how this can be alleviated, and we are definitely looking at it as a something that we want to address. But I don't want to talk about how we are going to address it yet. But it's an issue we are working on, I can say.
There's also just to make sure that to add on top of that, right? I think when we had the last live stream, that one that Ole was on also, right? It was pretty clear that we basically showed us all the stuff that's gonna land tomorrow, and it was really important to us to show that we focused on the PvE endgame aspect of thing most likely for this chapter. Not that we were disregarding the PvP aspect, but right, since at launch there was kind of like not really any sort of PvE end game, that was really the focus in there, right? And then in the future, like Ole said, of course, we're gonna look back at the PvP aspect of things. As Farah was talking about, there's also the right balance of being unfair for people who grinded that thing for a whole year. It would be kind of like depressing for them to have someone who come, like you said, Cuddles, new to the game, having the same power level as someone who has worked so hard to get their stuff right. So all of that will need to be looked at when we have a lot more hands playing the thing that is going to drop tomorrow, right?
Okay, thanks. All right, so vehicle permissions, like, is there a plan to fix those? Because currently, right now, you have to grant somebody co-owner access to your vehicle to even just drive it, dismantle it, and they have the permission then to dismantle it and take it as their own. Now, you can't even pick up a vehicle without somebody being on it in the carrier because of the griefing that happened prior. But is there a way to essentially make the guild permissions a little bit easier to use? Because as it's currently sits, you have to add everybody as a co-owner, then they get associate, and then you get guild. Shouldn't your guild actually be better than associate in the current level? And wouldn't it be easier just to say guild permissions for this buggy, so then I don't have to like personally add 32 people to a buggy just to let everybody use it? I'm just wondering if that's like somewhat in the works.
It is definitely a pain point that we are aware of. Again, it's like I think Jeff G mentioned it earlier. It's a plan of like it's a game of resources and priorities. Or when we say resources, it means like people, like how many people we have working on different things and priorities. It's on the list of things that we do want to have a pass at the permission system, but it's not at the top of the list right now, unfortunately, because we have a long list of things. But yeah, it's definitely on there.
Yeah, because the only issue that like I was just thinking like it would probably be an easy fix just to say like just allow like associates be able to even just drive the vehicle in general as a whole, right? And that would alleviate the whole like tear down part of the vehicle itself. I didn't know if that was like an easy fix or whatnot. The other thing is you guys got a plan for attachments for the Sandcrawler to pick up flower sand, for Christ's sakes?
Oh man,
that one.
I was expecting that one to come, but yeah, no, it's discussed quite a bit as well. I mean, it's one of the more asked for. I wish it was super easy. Apparently, code-wise, it's kind of hard coded right now for Spice, so it'll be a little bit of work to change it. So it's not due to any other reason that it's code time to make it work right now, but also on the list of things that we want to do.
Yeah, and everything that sounds and look easy is always, especially on Dune, it's always not that easy. Even the thing that you were talking about, Carlos, about the permission, right? It might be an easy thing. Again, it's the coders are working on a million different things right now. There's a console launch coming. We have a lot of programmer on that for obvious reason, and everyone is fighting to get resource on X and Y, right? So yeah, the Sandcrawler thing is absolutely on the list, but it's also compared to so many other way more important things, it's not that high on the list to be able to pick up the sand. But I absolutely agree with you that we would all love to have that.
Thank you. Yeah, I just I'm out there picking up flower sand like a peasant, so I just wanted to throw that out there. But
You
anyhow,
and me
thank you
both,
guys.
my friend. You and me both.
We're all in that one. But I can totally say that it is on the list to at one point in time it will probably get done.
Look forward to it.
Before we leave.
Yes, I have one question. Joe said that all the Lance Rat control points have been removed for this patch, and are we ever going to get those back? And in what kind of state will they be in? Will there actually be NPCs that actually patrol those areas to make sure that you're not just flying in, taking in, and leaving? Or is there any way to like expand the deep desert to feel less empty? To say.
Oh, they will come back at some point, but we're not going to talk about how and which shape here now. But it'll have a more defined purpose because previously we weren't really happy with where they were. They were not serving the purpose that we intentionally envisaged. But yeah, if they come back, well, if they come back, we're gonna make sure it's serving a more solid purpose.
And we
Okay,
removed them
and-
because they just didn't fit the new system that we introduced now, the revamped Landsrat. It's just like we tried it and it just didn't fit and it didn't work out, like balance-wise as well. So that's why it was like safer to remove them. And then, like Ula said, we need to find a way to repurpose them, basically.
Okay, and
For
do
all the-
we have an idea or a roadmap to when the deep desert is going to be full PvP again?
We're going. Sorry.
It's gonna go like there was a lot of also discussion in the chat, right? When we sit down to really focus on PvP, like I said a few times now, for PvE was chapter 3 was really for PvE end game because it was not that what we presented. When we sit down for PvP, all of those discussions are gonna happen. What Joel said about bringing back the deep desert like it was at launch, the control point, how they come back, why they come back, how they will be behaving with the new Lance Red system that is mission based, and so on and so forth. All of that is going to be discussed and coming back at the same time.
Awesome, thank you very
When
much.
I don't have a date, but it's another thing we have to think about in the future. Ole, you wanted to say something about that?
No, I was just gonna say exactly what you said. So all good.
And there you guys have it. Those were the questions and answers that I personally asked. I'm going to leave it up to the other content creators to, essentially piece together their videos. But as far as it goes, like this was what I thought was most important, and a lot of my community members did too. So with that said, guys, please do leave it in a comment down below. Was I too harsh on them? Should we have asked better questions? And if you guys had an opportunity, what would you ask? But with that said, flower sand coming soon. Please do hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that bell if you want to stay up to date with everything Dune Awakening. And like always, stay thirsty, and I will see you guys on Arrakis.